Welcome back, everyone. My name is Michelle, and this is horror book Hell Hound. So I have two fabulous book reviews for you guys today. One is for those of us who are obsessed with smut, particularly dark romance, and the other is for my horror junkies who have been by my side since day one. So we're actually going to start with the smut. I hope you guys are not too disappointed in the information section down below. I'll put a little timestamp so that you can fast forward to the horror book review if that is what you are here for. So let's dive into this. So I've actually been doing really well getting through my TBR for this month, and I have ended up reading a few books that were not on my original TBR, one of which my lovely boyfriend bought me for Valentine's Day, and that is Heartless Heathens by Santana Knox. I have had this book on my wish list for a hot minute, and it was so funny too because I recently saw something on TikTok by the author, Miss Santana Knox, about how this book might be getting pulled off of Amazon at some point. I wasn't sure if she meant the ebook or the actual book, and so I was like so upset. I was like, I have to get this book now, and so I kind of ended up ruining my boyfriend's surprise, but still in love, still so happy. He done good, right guys? He done good. So let me give you guys a little bit of a synopsis for this book. So we have our female main character. We have 3 male characters. I'm gonna let your imagination do what it does best. You already know where this is going. It's kind of a reverse harem trope, but not exactly. But yeah, definitely some spicy scenes. Just, you know, 1 chick, 3 dudes. Just let your mind wander, and I'm sure you can get there, okay? I'm sure you guys can get there on your own. But the plot surrounding how these people meet is really fascinating. It was really interesting. I enjoyed the setting, the not quite post-apocalyptic setting, but at the same time, like, super dystopian, I feel. Yeah. So we're set in America. It is in the, unfortunately, not too distant future, where basically the church has taken over all of the politics in America. And things are just getting progressively worse from there. So our 3 main characters are seen as like these super bad boys, these evil people. And yes, they do kind of have links to Satanism, but keep in mind this is all fictional Satanism. This is not in any way, shape, or form supposed to represent real life Satanism or anyone from those religions. The author even has a big disclaimer and trigger warning section at the beginning of the book just to kind of put people's minds at ease. It's all fiction. Might be based off of religion, but it is fiction. So there's that. But basically this book has a giant good versus evil plot, right? And intermingled with that are an extreme amount of spicy scenes that really push limits. Now, the only thing I can kind of liken this book to as far as the derangement level of the sex scenes is Haunting Adeline, except with, instead of just having one Zaid, now we have a Sunny, Corvin, and Felix. So yeah, there's some similarities there as far as like the level of bad boy, the level of unhinged that you're dealing with. But with this book, instead of just having that one-on-one relationship building, we have kind of a reverse harem or a why choose trope going on, which I enjoy in fiction. In real life, no. But in fiction, why not? The fashion that is described in this book is me to a T. We'll just leave it at that. I don't really know what else to say about this book. I've already said, you know, the good versus evil trope. The good guys are actually the ones that you would normally think would be evil. So the roles are kind of reversed there. But I'm not going to give anything else away just because I don't want to spoil anything, but it was really good. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. And that was honestly just because some of the scenes were just a tad cringe for me. Like, and that's just my personal opinion. If you enjoy those like super cringe-worthy scenes where it's just like they're saying all the stereotypical things of like a dominant and a submissive in a fictional setting. Again, this is not made to represent any real life BDSM relationships. This is all fiction. But some of it does get a little cringe at times, in my opinion. So please don't hate. I do still absolutely love this book. I will keep it always. I will reread it, I'm sure. So, and I'm excited to see if this author does anything else in this world, like in this same universe or with the same characters, because I really did enjoy diving into all the different characters. So that was fun. But yeah, we're going to give this one a solid 4 out of 5 on the smut rating and on just the good story. Okay, for those of you who are here for the horror novel review, we have Road of Bones by Christopher Golden. So this book is very small. I read it in 2 days-ish, I believe. I probably would have read it in 1 if I didn't have to go to work. This book took me by surprise. You know, when it first came out, I saw a lot of booktubers kind of give it a it's alright review, but I really fucking liked this. Now, I still gave it a 4 out of 5. I did not give it a full 5 out of 5, and that only reason is because like there were some pet peeves of mine going on, and it wasn't grammatical errors at all. Grammatically, this book is top tier. All right, no, nothing like that. But there were a couple of editing mistakes. I don't even know if they were mistakes or if there were just certain things that were not expressed to the full extent to where the reader would grasp them. Because like I don't want to give any spoilers away, but there's a scene in there where a vehicle is left one place and then later on is found somewhere else. And I'm just kind of like, huh? But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Other than that, this story is fucking wonderful. As with a lot of horror novels, the characters are sometimes kind of meh, right? So, and I think that horror authors sometimes do that on purpose, just because if it's gonna end badly, we don't necessarily need to have these like all-consuming, hardcore feelings about our characters. Like, unless the author is really wanting to destroy us at the end, which I don't always like. Let's just be real. I don't always want to feel grief-stricken at the end of a book. But with this book, the characters were kind of meh. It's definitely one of those, once it starts, it just doesn't fucking stop type of books, which I really appreciate. This book plays out a lot like a movie. If you've ever read Anya Allborn's The Shuddering, this is written somewhat in a similar vein. Like, you can literally, like, my imagination got so swept up reading this book that I could picture it the entire fucking time. I could picture everything, and it was fucking awesome. And it was cool, and I would really love it if somebody turned this into a movie. I really would. I think that would actually be a really good cinematic experience. But yeah, this book was definitely not what I expected. Let me start from the fucking beginning. So the synopsis, let me just read you the little synopsis on the inside. Surrounded by barren trees in a snow-covered wilderness with a dim, dusky sky forever overhead, Siberia's Kolyma Highway is 1,200 miles of gravel-packed permafrost within driving distance of the Arctic Circle. I have no interest in going there. A narrow path where drivers face such challenging conditions as icy surfaces, limited visibility, and an average temperature of 60 degrees below zero. Fatal car crashes are common. But motorists are not the only victims of the highway. Known as the Road of Bones, it is a massive graveyard for the former Soviet Union's Gulag prisoners. Hundreds of thousands of people were worked to death and left where their bodies fell, consumed by the frozen elements and plowed beneath the road. Fascinated by the history, documentary producer Felix Teigland is in Russia to drive the highway, envisioning a new series capturing life and death on the Road of Bones, with a ride to the town of Akust, the coldest place on Earth, collecting ghost stories and local legends along the way. However, when Teague and his team reach their destination, they find an abandoned town, save one catatonic 9-year-old girl, and a pack of predatory wolves faster and smarter than any wild animals should be. Pursued by the otherworldly beasts, Teague's companions confront even more uncanny and inexplicable phenomena along the Road of Bones, as if the ghosts of Stalin's victims were haunting them. So it makes it sound like it's more along the lines of hauntings. But when you deep dive into this book, and especially once you get to the last few chapters in it, it's so not that. It's so not that. And the only thing that I was kind of bummed about were that the actual bodies and spirits that were under the road itself, the whole reason that they came there, were not really the focal point as far as the spiritual entities slash creatures slash, I'll leave it up to you to read this and figure out what the fuck it was, is involved. You expect to go into this story thinking that the people who were buried under the road, like the road itself is haunted, and yes, there's like a wolf thing, so it's a survival thing. And yes, that is all there, but the main antagonist, and towards the end of the book, you realize that it's so much bigger than that. Like, so much bigger than that. Like, you have spirits that I won't even talk to you guys about because I really want you to read the book. It's only like a couple hundred pages. You guys can do it. I promise you can. And I want you guys to let me know what you think. If you've already read it or if you do go and read it, let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not. It's definitely one of those books that plays out in your head like a movie. Like, if you have a decent imagination, it's gonna like blow your mind how well you envision everything that happens in this book. So I really enjoyed it. So both of these books, 4 out of 5, great reads. Very glad that I read both of these books this month. I really enjoyed them. So with that being said, I will go ahead and end the video there. I am planning on creating more content for next week, so keep an eye out for that. If you guys have any opinions about either one of these books, go ahead and share them down in the comments below. But please try to avoid spoilers in case anyone else has not read them yet. And yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up because that always helps me out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, Hell Hounds.